Attention gamers. When it comes to this toxic tilt fest that we all know and hate, if you compare pro play to what we as the mouth breathers funding riots greed through microtransactions experience in solo queue, it's almost two different games. Pros are groups of highly organized synergistic players who work together and care about each other succeeding, whereas solo queue players all have Amazon affiliate links to nooses because that's all they want to send to their teammates. But because these games are so different, it's rare some champs like Teemo are good and played a lot in solo queue but rarely ever seen in pro play. Which is why it's wild to see that one champ is dominating both games lately. Garen, and to make things weirder, he's being played in the mid lane, as if you sort the current stats by win rate across all ranks, you will see that mid Garen has the highest win rate of any champ right now, in addition to becoming super popular in pro play. So I took to Reddit to try and find an answer as to why, but then I was reminded about the vampiric turbo virgin jizz sharing community that moderates that forum, so in today's video I ventured out to find exactly how people are playing him and why he's so effective, as right now it seems the only way to beat him is to steal his identity and use his kit against him. But protecting against identity theft is a bigger issue that can't be explained quickly, but I can try. You see, there are data brokers on the internet that are capturing your personal data when you browse and buy stuff and donate to streamers and do just about anything online. They then sell your data to people who pay a butt ton of money for it so that they can shove targeted ads and spam and junk mail down our pie holes. But with your personal data getting passed around like a blunt at Snoop Dogg's house, it can sometimes get in the wrong hands, which is where Incogni comes in. This is a cheap subscription service that reaches out to these data brokers on your behalf and gets you removed from their lists, while dealing with all the crap in the background involved in doing so. With an account you can see all the lists you are currently on and literally watch yourself get removed from more and more every day. With identity theft and cybercrime on the rise, as well as big brothers all over the internet watching your every move, this gives you peace of mind to live your life online privately, and so go to incogni.com/ravlol and code RAVLOL to get an exclusive 60% off your plan with Incogni today. So try it out and let's get back to the video. Alright, so after my extensive research of like 4 normal lobbies, I think the foreshadowing of this fudge factory of a Garen mid situation boils down to his kit giving him a 7-course meal at the GMOP tavern with perma-laning, bursts of Usain Bolt that leave your enemy silenced, 4 seconds of being the best damn tank of your life, spinning that means winning with armor pen, and a true damage execute all so simple a trundle could understand it. Here is the build that's recommended, and these runes are the knees of the bees, and here's how it typically goes. The early laning phase is like setting the stage for psychological torture against a ranged mage. As you see, they will build up this fake imaginary scenario that they are going to stomp you, because every time you even think of making eye contact with one of their hooded midget employees, they have the most free opportunity to throw a bunch of shit at you. It feels like you are getting poked a lot, but if you remember your passive, you'll realize before they do that you are just trading their mana pool for your health pool. But your health pool comes back until they're more jizzed out than Johnny Sims after a work week, and you can make your move. Now I live life oblivious to literally everything going around me, so I choose to go in at the exact worst time as the 2 wards in my bag are shaking their judgmental heads, which results in a failed execution and me having to flash that frolicking fawn, but let that foreshadow what's to come. You see, Inspector Gadget over here has gotten comfortable tickling my piggies as we farm, but now I can just yell Demacia, do a full spin cycle like I'm some overpowered washing machine, and nuke the bitch with almost zero counterplay. I now have a dank wave clear with no mana and regenerating health, so I can punish the shit out of the fact that he is dead and watching from black and white. At one point I do actually use my eyes to see more than just my lane, to which I immediately regret it because it reveals that my jungler has 3 total brain cells and 2 of them are fighting with each other, so I take my frustration out with my super advanced combo, which breaks down to spin, and then ultimately win as I watch a 70% health Victor melt into a pile of triggered shit. We see British Bambi heading up top, and I'm thinking this is prime rib candidate for a little counter gank, and then we can resume the Toontown Grubs clown fiesta after. But Kanye is about as useful as a 2-headed dick, as he rotates a day late and $1 short, only to give the world an encore of his performance entitled I'm a Dipshit Dumbass by crawling up one of their a-holes instead of just running, which donates another wad of cash to the killers on the other team. And I'm thinking, damn, he just gave Victor all this gold, how am I going to manage in lane now? Psych, that was a joke. This is absolutely bullshit, but hey, it wouldn't be league if my team didn't want to quit, as they are getting stomped like a pile of elephant shit in every lane except mine. So now I'm thinking it's limit test time, as I decide to just casually walk at the cough-ridden science simp under his own tower at full health and show him that even without ignite there's little counterplay to what's happening here. But if you look at the kill count, you'll see this is one of those no eye in team but 4 eyes in inting idiots type of situations, so I need to go up north and play some damage control because some obese alcoholic is spiraling out of control, and I watched enough bousts to know that fairy tale doesn't end well for me, so I put the fat ginger down before his own type 2 diabetes can. The silver lining is that everyone is worth shut down, so when Miss Pretty Pistols reveals that she's in the area and tries to act all innocent as if my bot lane is an 0-32 right now, I get a surprise bonus 600 when she passes away. Lilia is their team's biggest threat because of reasons related to my Kanye and him donating his brain to science before he was done using it, so I have to pick my spots wisely, aka right when she just stepped in poison ivy, as it keeps even her too sluggish from scooting away from a skyscraper-sized sword coming down on her dead head. But considering the rest of my team fights back as well as a cheap pinata, I quickly get identified as the top priority threat for the enemy team, and soon enough anywhere I am on the map means that literally all 5 of the bad guys are on me because they know the rest of my team isn't doing anything but picking lint out of each other's belly buttons in the forest. Sure, their mid laner is about as useful as an ashtray on a motorcycle, and I can just run at the OnlyFans pirate to steal some of her fortune before Keemstar sprinting at her support, who's just trying to stretch her legs after being stuck in the fetal position inside some creep's lantern for years, so I put that hoe out of her misery too. But the issue is I'm human and stupid, so when I blow my load to kill a useless bag of shit once more, I quickly remember that their entire team has my photo on bounty posters all over their base, so I get to deal with 4 of them while my team is just busy asking to go next because their performance is amongst a world record in absolute Donkeyville embarrassment to humanity status, and thus my first attempt at finding out why Garen mid's win rate is so high consists of me lowering it just a smidge. Game 2, I was against the main villain in Toy Story 1 and the laning phase was so boring I fell asleep twice, so let's just fast forward to 6 minutes in when I noticed the team's pet gerbil getting gangbanged by a windshitter and a jungling Zed, so I figured I will be a good Samaritan and head up there for a little eye for an eye action. But I guess there was a massive glaring problem with this plan, and I am just too stupid to realize how monumental my mistake was here. You see, I went back mid, which is what I'm conditioned to do as a mid laner who is laning mid, but no, that's apparently wrong now. With no communication at any point, I was now being graced with question marks all over my screen every few seconds like little dickhead decorations. I asked in chat what's the occasion but got nothing. This continued on cooldown for minutes as the question marks were coming out in bundles right on my head every few seconds, and I was now clearly starting to get agitated, but again no peep out of the pipsqueak up there. I decided to channel my rage into productivity in the form of a full-blown slaughter, killing the octopus before he could even spell the word alt, and then informing this Deadpool cosplayer that it's cool because I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan as well, until he agrees to let me go. More question marks spawn, and only then is it revealed that I apparently fucked this Kennan's game. My act of rotating up when he got bitch slapped back to base and giving him an assist on the man who killed him, and then returning to my own day job as a mid laner apparently ruined his life so hard that it was worthy of him spending all his effort pinging me for 6 minutes straight. I said my bad homie, but what I meant is you are a degenerate scum slut who should sleep on a bag of Legos, but I'm totally a nice guy, so I just offered to swap lanes again. Long story short, I got super fed and could absolutely nuke anyone on the enemy team with no counterplay once again, and my favorite meal was gin tartar served cold, but turns out the hamster rage quit and we lost the game. So game 3 starts, and all I've learned about Garen at this point is that he attracts the most pathetic weak pussy repelling butt plugs as teammates, but that was all going to change the second I got real humans on my team. You see, I was against Dumbledore's left testicle, who was enjoying the amenities that came with being ranged in the early game, but as the scriptures say, thou shalt run and he ran. But the little pocket-sized bitch wizard heard of a gank incoming, so he used his last bit of power to put me in a cage, which enraged me to the point where I just so decided to one-combo him with nothing but a measly pair of boots for like 80% of his health before seeing the frown on that clown that was approaching. But he received his gank, so eventually it was my turn to receive mine as a drop kick pushed him out of his prism of protection, and I could tell my dreams of having the better team were soon to come true. And call my team a bunch of well-oiled wheels because they were all rotating with ease as that teeny-weeny wardless wizard was learning the hard way what it's like to have no support system in this game. This is when I realized that the key to Garen mid plus having a team is the tilt factor, so when I saw some flame being cast against his own jungler, I had to throw some oil onto that flame to see where it takes us. This then of course was followed by an even more stringent focus around making sure this Hogwarts daycare dropout remained dead as much as humanly possible, and thanks to my own jungler being on the same page, that plan was working out. Unfortunately at one point my endless pursuit of dead bitching the baby did result in a close call, but hallelujah to the Rift gods, I had the team of all teams to make sure my mistakes were more than made up for. I could see the hatred these players had for each other, and I was in the front row provoking it as they continued to flame each other in all chat as if we care. Shaco made for a perfect secondary target as I wanted to make sure both sides of that divorce remained angry, and this opened up the door for the blind kickboxer to continue our unspoken bond of ruining this Vhagar's day. It is worth noting that Chester the Jester did come in at the end to try and avenge the death of the asshat flaming him, and while it was a bit tricky, I just had to pause for a second to make sure I won the game of Shaco or Faco, and once I was confident in my choice I committed. Hey, did you guys hear the one where I hid in the jungle and destroyed a clown in like 2 seconds? Never mind, I guess it wasn't meant to be psych. Look at the raw power of a spinning to winning single item Garen. But at this point I certainly didn't want to be rude by not introducing myself to their ADC, whose life was going to be miserable moving forward, so I made sure to make nice with her not once but twice to show just how engaging this champ is to play against when he is this ahead. Seeing as my ult does true damage, I decided to hop on and give it a test drive against the fat car mechanic, who was quite beefy at this point, which was probably a bit overkill but still felt quite nice. Side note, you could see that absolute disregard for any effort being put into this game by Vhagar at this point, which means my job was complete. So after 3 games of research I learned what I already knew, in that 90% of the teammates you get in this game are absolute donkeys, but also that this champ is seemingly the best in the mid lane right now because his stupid ass kit makes enemies hate you, hate their own teammates, and give up on themselves, and that is my essay on why Garen mid is the most hated champ in the game right now. Subscribe please, and ravioli outie.